I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. President, it says snow starts in 2.5 hours, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Communication, I can find all the meeting law.
Yeah, posted at the door and on our website.
Okay, sounds good. Roll call.
Rolfie,
Yes.
Jazinski,
Yes.
Foley,
Yes.
Schaefer, here, Kraus,
Yes.
White, here, Topar.
Yeah. Any order changes at the beginning?
It's on, it's finally cut. As soon as that was going.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's still recording.
Okay, that brings us to number 6, approval of minutes. We have regular board meeting on the 10th of November and special board meeting on the 2nd of December.
Second.
I moved in second to approve both of them. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carried. Any public comments? Everybody's here for the agenda. Okay, nobody wants to speak? Wonderful. And announcements, Chris.
I just have that the candidates packets are available, so some people have already got theirs. Otherwise, if anybody's interested, they can come to the office and pick up a packet. It's got everything you need to get on the ballot for this thing.
Okay, thank you. Public works report.
Yeah.
You don't
Go
have
for it.
to.
You can say, you can say. You can come up here if you want.
You're not on camera.
Well, for wastewater, we did 4.8 million gallons of wastewater over the last month. Ethan and Trevor attended a training in Madison. They got to service the wastewater pickup truck and installed new desks in the haulers area for the haulers lock boxes. On the water side, we treated 3.9 million gallons of drinking water and continued progress on the new well house. And Public Works, we went and picked up our new plow truck, assembled and filled the ice skating rink, and got the rest of the equipment ready for snow.
Any questions or comments for Frank?
Did they build the desks?
Actually helped.
Yeah. Are they desks or just tables?
Just a countertop.
No questions or comments? Thank you. Police chief report.
November, I attended the village board of trustees meeting, committee meetings, and the chamber of commerce meeting. During the month of November, officers handled 183 calls for service, issued 19 citations, and 4 written warnings. And then I would like to remind residents about removing snow and ice from sidewalks. Residents have 36 hours after snowfall to clear sidewalks per village ordinance 14-10. And we have started sending out notices on that. And for vehicle maintenance, we replaced the tires on the 2019 Durango. That would be it.
Any questions for Sean?
January, February, annual report of this year.
Yes. Print out the numbers. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I guess one last thing. They must be out on a call, but Jared did start full-time today. So he's gonna do a couple weeks of training with us and yeah, that's all of that.
So we buy the weapons for the police officers.
Yes.
So the officers that resign turn the weapons back in?
The last one was sold to the officer that resigned.
Oh, so they buy it.
Yeah. I think it was trade-in value was 350 on that. That's what-
I know. I just wanted to know what happened.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Sean. President to comment, I have nothing at this time. Under new business, item A, discussion possible action on ordinance 25-4, wellhead protection and ordinance repealing and recreating portions of 454-32 wellhead protection district of the municipal code of the village of Spencer relating to the protection of the municipal water supply.
This came up during the inspection of well house number 2, well number 7. DNR wants us to update the wellhead protection plan before it goes online. So rural water rewrote our wellhead protection plan for us. They get grant money from the state, from the federal government to write those plans. So they rewrote our plan to include well number 7. It previously only included 1, 4, and 6, 5, 1, 4, 5. So basically along with the plan is an ordinance to adopt the plan. And since the last plan was adopted, the DNR's rules on setbacks primarily have changed. How far away certain things can be from our wells in order to make sure that they're protected. So the majority of these changes in section 2 are all the minimum separation distances. Section 1 redefines the 5-year time of travel, how far away water that falls from our well needs to be in order to get to our well in 5 years. So it's actually a lot shorter distance than I would have thought on a map. The plan itself does have a map in it as well. And there are copies of that plan here in the office if anyone wants to see them. The last section updates the intent of the plan just to reference well number 7. So most of it is just to get 7 into the plan and then to update those distances. And this is required to be approved by the board in order to be considered a valid wellhead protection plan.
So that's all the wells that we have.
Yeah, so the whole document, which already included the other wells, was updated to
Including our new one.
include the new one and update all those setbacks.
And who wrote this?
One of the writers was Rural Water. Can't remember his name. He focuses on things like this code stuff.
And he did this out of the goodness of his heart?
He does it because he's paid by Rural Water, and Rural Water gets their money through grants from the city, specifically to help communities like us write these plans.
Need a motion for this then?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Phil. I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Item B, discussion possible action on ordinance 25-5, sex offender residency restriction, and ordinance to repeal ordinance 395, which is sex offender residency restriction.
As we talked about 2 months ago, we were advised by our council to repeal our sex offender residency ordinance on the grounds that it was unconstitutional, that it was too restrictive for a community like the Village of Spencer to prohibit in the way that it did, basically any sex offender from living in the Village of Spencer. So when we get rid of our ordinance, we will be relying on the state law that covers residency restrictions. And it's the county's job to enforce those state laws. Coincidentally, at the county level, they're actually a little bit more restrictive than our ordinance was, which provides us with as much, if not more, protection than we had before. But it takes away the threat of lawsuit for having a law on our own books that would be unconstitutional.
Take a motion to approve ordinance 25-5. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item C, discussion possible action on a contract with Waste Management for garbage and recycling services for a 5-year term, 2026 through 2030.
Last month, we approved the proposal that Waste Management provided. They were the most economical choice of the 3 that we got. This meeting now, they're asking us to approve the contract that will guide our relationship for the next 5 years. It's pretty standard, pretty comparable to the last agreements that we've had with advanced disposal and waste management. The biggest things are the changes that we've already talked about. For the first 2 years of this contract, they will continue to pick up bulk items curbside. Residents can call those in, but now there will be a charge for that. So the residents will have a charge associated with those bulk pickup items, and those fees are at the back of this contract. The other thing is that there are now fees for both contamination and overages. So if a resident puts garbage in the recycling, they'll get a letter from Waste Management saying, yeah, you can't do this. If it happens too many times or they just won't stop, then Waste Management has the ability to basically charge them for a contamination fee. Because they have to take the time to clean the waste out of that recycling material. All of the residents in the Village of Spencer will have an account established with Waste Management. That overage fee, if they pile up garbage around the outside of their container, if they can't get everything into the garbage can, and the driver has to get out to load the garbage container a second time in order to get everything into the truck, then they could be looking at an overage fee as well. And both of those charges would be billed directly to the home. So every resident will have an account set up at Waste Management for overages, for contamination, or for bulk items if they want to schedule it.
If they have, if they request a second container,
If
what's,
any resident wants a second container, all they have to do is ask. They'll be charged for it, but the agreement that we had with them, part of the request that we made when we asked for proposals was to allow for that. So there are a couple of residents in town that have more than one garbage container. A couple that, I think there's at least one maybe that has more than one recycling container.
So is there any charge for over sticking out of the container?
As long as it's in the container.
If the lid can't be closed, it's the definition they use in the agreement, is that if the lid can't be closed, then it could be considered over.
Yeah, I've seen some last
Yeah,
week.
it's not- Yeah, it was sticking out. In the past, wasn't that allowed?
Well,
As long as it could be in the container.
They didn't have a mechanism in the old contract because it was advanced disposals contract for overages.
Okay.
So there really wasn't anything in the previous contract that allowed them to charge for that. They could ask, and they did, for people not to overfill the garbage. The biggest concern is that when it's being dumped, if the lid starts out open, then there's a chance garbage could fall outside the container.
What was that in the Facebook? How else will our residents be informed of this?
During the first 6 months of this contract is what's called the rollout period. And during that rollout period, Waste Management will provide us with educational material to share with our residents. And for those first 6 months, there will be no overages or contamination charges. After that 6-month period, we will have been expected to educate our residents enough that that shouldn't be an issue.
And how are we gonna do this education process?
We will basically do it the way we've always done, letters, the internet, our website, and the direct messaging app that we have. Coincidentally, we are required to supply our residents with rules about recycling every year as part of our recycling grant with the DNR. So we'll just make sure that that material is updated to include all of the new stuff from Waste Management.
So there's a possibility that somebody in the village would not know this.
Sure, they're gonna claim that.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
if they don't have, look at Facebook, if they don't,
So that's why that 6-month period is as long as it is, because they'll have 6 cycles or 6 months, I should say, 24 cycle or to basically educate them. Because if it's overfull or it's contaminated, they're gonna get a letter and they're gonna get pictures. Waste Management, when they have a violation, they get a picture of it so that they can include that with the letter. So if they don't know it the first time, they'll get a warning. And then it's hard to claim ignorance after you've gotten a few warnings.
got it.
Excuse me,
Okay.
different townships around here that we're getting our taxes from, they put it right in our tax thing saying what rules for the garbage and what you can and can't.
Yep.
Right in your taxes.
And we will do that too. Unfortunately, we don't have that educational information from Waste Management soon enough that the taxes that we're gonna send are gonna go out this week. So it will be a two-step process for us.
It's mailing, it's the best because most people don't go on the internet and stuff looking at that.
Yeah, no,
Oh, mail's the best, yeah, right.
Get there after the 6 months.
yeah, well, and that's the nice thing about the way we do our water bills now, because by mailing them out as letters, we have the ability to put two pieces of paper in the same envelope and not be charged any more postage. So besides the time that it takes to stuff those letters in January, it won't really cost us any more money to send those out second. Exactly.
Okay, I move to approve the waste management contract.
I have one question for you, Kurt.
Yep.
Did they put anything in there about maintaining the garbage cans like I've been doing?
Yep, it is their responsibility to maintain still.
Okay, we were doing it because they couldn't.
We were doing it initially because they couldn't. And I still think that given, sometimes it's quicker for us to do it.
Right.
But certainly, it is their responsibility to maintain the.
There was several incidences where you'd give me an address and it was already fixed.
Yeah, yep.
Them are the ones that the drivers.
The drivers will report damage as they notice it, and then they'll write tickets, maintenance tickets, but, sometimes I think it is cheap or faster for us to just do it if we can.
Just curious, because I did have them drop me off a bunch of lids again, so.
Yeah,
But at the same time, if they're gonna be charging us for extra things, that should be their responsibility to fix those. They should not put that off and rely on our guys to do it.
right. Yeah, again, I was asking our guys to do it in the moment when it was easy for us to do it.
Okay.
And I knew that it would be a little bit more responsive. But no, it's not unreasonable to ask them to maintain the car systems. I don't know if we got a second.
Did we get a second on it?
Yeah, second.
Bill, second, all in favor, say aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item D, discussion possible action on an updated service agreement with Function Design Studio for phase 2 of the band shelter project for $32,060.
So we met with Function last week to go over the 30% design. And getting ready to create 80% or 70% plans that are going to be submitted to the state for approval for construction. And when we were talking with them, especially after the sticker shock associated with the price estimate for the second phase, we realized that we would not be doing we wouldn't be doing some of the things that were in the original contract. So that original contract is last in the packet. It was for $38,240, and it included bidding and construction administration for about another $7,000. Or included in that $38,240 was about $7,000 worth of bidding and construction administration. And because we won't be doing that probably next year for sure, and well, we don't know when we would be doing it. We had them take that out of the contract so that won't be an expense that we will incur associated with this contract. We did ask them to provide us with one extra thing that wasn't in the contract, and that was to update the model revision or the picture of what it's going to look like. Because the old picture that they provided with phase 1 really doesn't match exactly what we're going to do with phase 2. And doesn't include the bathrooms at all. So we did ask them to provide us with an updated model. And that's important because that really is the focus of the fundraising campaign. Everybody needs to see what it is that they're going to be donating for.
You said without bathroom?
No, it will have the bathrooms in the model as well. The model that was created originally did not include the bathrooms. Yeah. So this model would be more representative of what the next phase intends to do. So when they take out those other items and they add this model revision into it, you get a total of $32,060 is what the new contract would be. Just for comparison, all of our income and expenses for this project are listed here, and the difference is what we have on hand left over $24,000. That's what we would have to pay towards the $32,000. So we do have a little bit of fundraising to do to catch up on the design. And then once that's done, we will have basically shovel-ready plans in hand that we can pull the trigger on whenever we hit our fundraising goal. So the agenda item here is basically to approve this new contract as amended.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Jeremy. I'll second it. And we roll call it.
Brophy,
Yes.
Kavinsky,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Baker, Stroud,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Oakland.
Yes. Motion carried. Item E. Discussion possible action on insurance proposal for 2026.
I was hoping that I would get away with putting plural in that sentence, but we did not get any other proposals back from my solicitations last month. The couples that I reached out to, one of them no longer handled village size things. They were focused on townships. And the other was going to have something for me today, but they didn't get the information back from their underwriters in time. Jesse, however, is here from Spectrum to go over the changes in the proposals that they presented last month. Kind of just tell you where those numbers come from and to answer any questions that you guys have. Just as a reminder, there was a little bit of a price increase over last year that was primarily driven by two things. The amount of insured property that we had went up considerably, primarily because of well house number 6 or 7. Well number 7, well house number 2 cost about $6 million. So that's a pretty big increase in the amount of property that we need to insure. And the other was primarily workers' comp paid. And we don't really have control over the workers' comp rates because those are set by state.
What determined the value of the well?
The design, how much we are paying for it.
Yeah, but that included the well system, the well and all the other stuff. I mean, the building itself just didn't cost that. It's the whole project.
Yeah, and we don't insure just the building. We insure everything, to rebuild it if we needed to. But yeah, I mean, that's.
I don't know how you can use the entire project.
Sure. Well, that's
Because
why.
the value of the building,
That's why Jesse's
that's the only
here.
thing you're worried about.
Well, I mean, and all the equipment inside of it too. So I mean, all of the mechanicals inside are insured as well. Same as the other water plant and the wastewater plants.
Well, then what's warranties for? Why do we have warranties on any of the equipment if we're gonna insure it?
Well-
We're double dipping is my point.
Sure.
We got warranties on it, and then you got insurance on it. $6 million, of course, we're gonna be paying through the nose for it. And on top of it,
Yeah.
it's a concrete tank in the ground, basically.
Well, you've been there. There's a lot.
I know it's
There's a
there.
lot of mechanical. I guess the two things I would say is I'd still have Jesse answer most of those questions. But I would just say, you have a warranty on your dishwasher, but you still have house insurance that would cover the replacement of that dishwasher for house rent.
Mine don't, because I don't buy it.
Can you maybe speak to that
I'll
$6
do as
million?
best I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Again, I'm Jesse from Spectrum Insurance Group. I've met a fair number of you, I believe, over the years. I'm one of the managing partners of Spectrum Insurance Group, and Spectrum is one of the agencies that represents your League Mutual Insurance brand. I call it yours because, again, this is built specifically for League of Wisconsin municipalities, cities, and villages. As all it insures. We do it. There's a handful of fire departments, police departments, sewer and water districts, etc. But the vast majority of League Mutual Insurance is cities and villages only in the state of Wisconsin, and they insure about 520 of them, just to kind of give you an overview. A few things that Chris and I thought would be a good thing to go through, and he's already touched on a number of them, and I'll try to backfill some of the questions that are already on the table. I've I have in front of me what you have up there. It's hard for me to see. So if I look down every once in a while, that's what I'm just kind of reading. It's there. So there are two larger areas of concern year over year. When we look at League Mutual and its property insurance counterpart, MPIC underneath, their pricing structure, their rate structure really has been consistent year over year. We haven't seen much for rate increases. What's driving the premium change that you're seeing there, and what Chris mentioned, set aside the work comp for a second, talk about that second on the property side of the house, it's values. And so what the underwriter did without even my request is knowing that there was another, I want to say is about 7.5 million or so roughly in values between, I might be a little heavy on that, between the wastewater treatment facility.
The two lift stations of projects that we did added cost to the.
Yeah, there was a few other minor things.
The shelter, obviously.
Pickleball courts, a couple of lift stations, etc. But the vast majority of that was in the difference in value year over year. The underwriter actually decided not to change the rate at all. So the rate, if you ever wonder what you're paying for property insurance coverage, you think of every $100 worth of value, whether it's buildings, personal property, property in the open, contents of buildings, is just over 9 cents. So for every $100 of value that the village insures, the cost is 9 cents. In my world, in the commercial insurance world, I've been doing this for 31 years, is very, very low. And that's specifically because they only insure cities and villages. They don't have a lot of brick and mortar buildings. There's not a lot of overhead with employees, etc. I'm not trying to dance around the question earlier, but the question was with regard to these buildings. And I mean, I have a mental view of them. I think of a lift station building, for example, and you certainly have a brick and mortar structure outside of it, but within there, there's a lot of mechanicals. And I'm not an expert on any of those things. You know, your folks here are much better than that than I am, but we're essentially ensuring the entirety of the value of the asset that's there, whether it could burn, it could get hit by lightning. We see a lot of those things. We see check valves fail on lift stations and backups and water damage to these things. So what MPIC does is that's the property portion of your insurance cover program, is they insure the entirety of the value of what the village assets are. How do they get to that number? Every 3 to 5 years or so, and Chris, maybe you remember when the last one was done, but they will provide an appraisal to the village. They appraise all of the property values. That would be a fairly expensive appraisal if you were to go out and do that on your own. League Mutual and MPIC does that free of charge, just to make sure that they're appropriately valuing the buildings. So if I see a number there of, in this case, we've got $31.6 million of buildings, contents, property in the open, you would essentially have that 31.6 million for every single piece of property owned by the village. You are not underinsured any place. Again, the appraisal is there to make sure that they're ensuring appropriate values. And yes, warranties, etc. I really don't know anything about the warranties that you might have on those buildings, but insurance coverage is there to protect the damage to them. I'll stop there for a minute. I've been had a lot of coffee today. I've been talking too much, but questions that I do have a few other things I want to point out about the program that I think you'd find interesting. Questions so far? No, insurance isn't doing the best I can.
Well,
He gets it.
I get it.
just
That's
wants
the
to
problem.
argue.
I mean, I understand the insurance, like for the police department because of their liability and understand, but you know, like the water and sewer plant, I don't know what insurance we ever.
No, you're buying thing that might happen. Tornado that Spencer really never had comes through and tears the place apart.
That's different.
You know, but that's.
But I mean,
right?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, tornadoes are rare for the.
No, but I'm just saying that, you know, if something happens like that, you're gonna.
Yeah, a lot of what I see, and again, you can have claim examiners here and talk to you about your interface, but a lot of the stuff that I do see comes from, again, check valves, lift stations, things like that. A lot of it's from storm activity and power surges and things along those lines that I don't begin to understand. There's so much complicated equipment within those structures that can get expensive in an awful big hurry. But I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I hope it never does happen. I know the village, but
We've had lightning strikes at the wastewater plant that were covered by insurance. in the past.
We're mentioned, we're mentioned cyber, it's either $500 deductible, is that like our IT?
Somebody hacks in and trashes our systems.
Yeah,
That's higher than anything else.
There's been a number of municipalities, but
The thing that you think about,
ransomware.
municipalities are getting better at protecting their data. When I say data, now I'm focusing on cyber. You know, 5, 6 years or so ago, municipalities that, when you think about the data that you have in your computer systems, in your servers, all the residents and the employees, et cetera, there's an awful lot there that good cyber criminals can get access to. I won't bore you to death with a lot of the stories, but if anybody really wants to talk, I'll give you my card and we can talk about those sorts of things. But it's very, very, very important. So we used to have to go outside of the league program to place that cyber cover form. The league is always looking for building this program so its members don't have to run around and find things with different carriers. I can tell you your cyber cover form is absolutely outstanding. You carry I can see it from here, a full $1 million worth of liability. There's no liability deductibles outside of that. And your property deductible is $1,000, maybe a little on the light side, but it's okay. If you give me like a minute, a few other.
Go ahead, I'm just being.
No, you're fine. I want to respect everybody's time. A few things that I want to point out, and I think our police chief, maybe, department is here. So I don't know if you're using Lexipol reimbursements. Do you use?
We
Lexipol?
are.
Okay, so one of the things that League Mutual does annually, and I hope you're doing this. I think you guys
Just got reimbursed.
you know where I'm going with that. Yeah, so Lexipol is fairly expensive, very good service, but League Mutual reimburses $2,500 of those fees to Lexipol annually. So we get your invoice, or League Mutual does, and they send you a check for $2,500. It's just an added bonus, if you will. Safety grants. I think Spencer is using that safety grant. So every year League Mutual will give a minimum of a $500 safety grant. I think that's where Spencer is. It's the minimum.
I think it went up to $600 for next
And
year.
this is based on your work comp. All it's free money. Basically go out and buy something safety related, let your mind go crazy, use whatever you want. If you can't think of anything, buy $600 worth of safety grants, safety vest, whatever. It's free money. Buy them, send in the League Mutual will reimburse you for that. And then dividends, just basically returning some of those premium dollars at year end. There's always a rub between, I really want a big dividend, and why did I get such a big dividend? You took too much of my money up front. Why did you wait? So historically, over the last 9 years that Spencer's been with the program, they've reimbursed $27,000 worth of dividend to the village. That averages at $3,000 per year out the last 3 years, and somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 again, because the league doesn't want to hold on to your money up front. They'd rather keep their rates low, but still reimburse a reasonable dividend at the end of the year, assuming that the entirety of the program had a good year. Workers' compensation, I'll kind of close on that and then open the floor for questions. I won't get into the fine details of the claims because I think that's somewhat confidential for you folks to talk on your own. But workers' compensation is adjusted in the state of Wisconsin based on your historical claim activity. And there's some, and it's based on 3 of the last 4 years of your claim activity. So throughout the current year that we're in, it's not over yet. The 3 previous years, 24, 23, and 22, enter into the work comp equation and that experience rating for January 1 of 26. What that means is there is a large claim somewhere in there, larger, that's driving your experience rating up. League Mutual can't do anything about that. It's an adjustment factor for that claim, and that's almost 100% of what's driving the workers' compensation premium. You have a little bit higher payroll projected, but it's not a big deal. Most of it is in that claim.
So do we get any, if we have no workman's comp claims, do we get anything back?
So what happens with just putting on my workers' compensation hat? For starters, Having lower claim volume keeps that experience rating I just talked about lower. That's a starter. And then part of your dividend plan, remember I talked about that? Part of that ties into your workers' compensation claim activity, specifically for the village, and you also share with the entirety of the lead program. So let's say you had a really nasty workers' compensation claim. First of all, your experience rating would be affected, but a lot of that from a dividend standpoint, shared by the rest of the members and the League Mutual Fund. Good question.
So what's the equipment breakdown?
Equipment breakdown, and you'll see the numbers on there are identical in commercial insurance world. They always will be. Equipment breakdown includes such things as like sudden and accidental breakdown to think about those lift stations that we talked about. And there's all this equipment in there, mobile machinery and equipment that runs that building. Sudden and accidental breakdown would be a lightning hit to that building, or somebody's working on it, and I'm just making stuff this up, I go, but they work on it and they do something incorrectly to that machinery and it breaks. Okay, it's not a fire, windstorm, lightning, etc. So equipment breakdown falls into that category. It always works in direct conjunction with the property. So all we're doing is we're just making sure that we're covering not only just the fire, lightning, tornadoes, etc., but the equipment breakdown to functioning pieces of equipment within those buildings. So another good question. That's why the limits are always the same.
And that's where, Al, you're talking about, I mean, the limits on the new building where everything's under warranty. You know, that should be cut out of there. Because,
Yeah, it's like and I don't know. I don't know that would warranty cover a lightning surge to equipment. I don't know.
well, I mean, you're saying a station, your check valves fail stuff. Well, we got pumps, we have
Yeah.
drives, we have all kinds of things that
I know.
can and will
Well, that,
fail.
that warranty would cover the failed valve, but it wouldn't necessarily, the warranty is not gonna cover damage due to the failed. That's where this.
Like the damage that the water might do. Again, I'm mentally kind of visioning this, like if it raises up beyond a level where it shouldn't have been because the check valve failed. The damage that the water does to the building that it's not supposed to be touching. That's where the insurance comes in. And maybe works in conjunction with the warranty as well.
I know. It's just. I can't remember. We've only had just a few insurance claims that I can remember over the years. Few. Not too many. Huh?
Fire department burned down.
That was a long time ago.
Pretty easy.
We had a pickup truck burn down. So fire is a big thing for the villages.
No, I understand that. So. It says public official liability. I assume that's errors and omissions on us.
That could actually be, I don't know, people like to say, what's your most important liability insurance? I don't know about that. But public officials liability indeed, and you see the limits marry one another, $4 million. So that protects claims that are made against the village, not just the board members, certainly you're an important part of that. But where there's no bodily injury or property damage, somebody claims that the village board or otherwise did something that it shouldn't have done or didn't do something.
Didn't do something.
Yeah.
We didn't fix the sidewalk.
Well, and there you could have that could come into play, but if it's a bodily injury or property damage, somebody, goes face plants after that.
I was gonna say, are we the primary or the secondary when it comes to the public?
Primary, secondary to whom?
Well, let's say an individual gets hurt in the park. Is their own personal insurance primary and then we're secondary?
So you're talking about like their health insurance probably, right? Because
But, well, let's just say somebody falls off the swing and breaks their leg.
Yeah.
They wanna sue us because we didn't have the swing installed correctly.
Yeah.
So, but health insurance,
Yeah.
a broken leg, they can go after you for.
Yeah. It's a good question. So think about like let's start with their health insurance. So health insurance pays the claim and they say, he fell off a swing and it was the village's responsibility for that swing. So they're going to subrogate that claim back to the village, right? So in terms of primary and secondary, kind of depends on who it comes to first, right? I will tell you that municipalities as a whole, whether you're a city or a village or a county or school district, are protected in the state of Wisconsin by incredible immunity statutes, protections that none of us in this room have on our own, not even close. So you will see an awful lot of those claims that will be denied is not the word I'm looking for. I'm sorry, I got a mind blank when I'm tied to it, but in essence, the village, it's very difficult for a third party to prove a third party negligence claim in the scenario that we have out there. Unless, for example, this has been brought to the village for the last 3 years and you know that that swing was hanging by a thread and we knew that it was going to hurt somebody and you didn't do anything about it. Pretty rare that that happens. So answering your question, for the most part, a claim like that almost always is going to come back to the city, village, if you will. And then your league mutual is going to provide defense for you on that claim. And as long as there was no clear negligence, we talked about that, didn't do something, I think is what I thought about. Then as long as none of that happens, the claim probably isn't going to end up getting paid here, it'll get denied. We'll defend you. And then if a court says you were responsible and negligent, they'll pay. Sorry, that's the long-winded answer.
We're going back to common law.
Somebody took a law class in school. They knew you were here. Other questions, you guys can come. You're doing a really good job. I like the questions.
Well, you know what to do, Bill.
At the end of the day, again, this is your plan. You're at the same program that 500 plus other municipalities are throughout the state. The board of directors of the League Mutual Plan is made up of people just like you. They all sit on city and village boards throughout the state of Wisconsin. You're welcome to come to, like you get invites to the meetings twice a year. They're quite good, in my opinion. And this plan is specifically responsive just to you. So you can go right to the executive director of the League Mutual Plan. I don't know very many other insurance companies that you can go to the actual head of the company and talk to them. That's pretty much what I had.
Next question?
Okay with it? You're okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay, next motion.
By Bill,
Second.
second by Al. All in favor? Opposed?
We'll get
Yeah, roll call? Okay, we'll do roll call.
something after I'm gone. I know Chris knows how to track me down pretty easily.
Yep, and you're very prompt,
Thank
right?
you.
Ask him questions at least once every other month.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, thank you.
Have a good.
We'll get a roll call on that, just because of the dollar amount of this, contract. Rolfie?
Thank you.
Jasinski?
Yes.
Bose?
Yes.
Schaefer? Yes. Kraus?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Topol?
Yes.
And, maybe I'll get your help reminding me next year so that there is more time. If you want me to go out and get more information later in the year so that we can get, better quotes at what you guys want.
There's 800 communities and they're employed, they got 500, so.
Yeah.
There really isn't any.
So when I went back and looked at our records for previous insurance companies that we've had, we haven't been with any single insurance company as long as we've been with Spectrum. And like I said, I called up the previous companies that we had because I really didn't want to just go out blind. And only one of them was still willing to talk to me about insurance for this year, and they weren't able to get it done in time. But like I said, if we want to do it earlier next year.
We had the same issue with Church Mutual.
Before we move on, I think we got two. There's the kind of plan. This is, go ahead, John.
This is Garrett Barlow, our new officer. Nice to meet you guys.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, moving on. Oh, boy. Item F. Discussion possible action on the appointment of the election officials for the 26-27 biennium pursuant Wisconsin statute 7.30, including Kathy Byer, Republican nominee, Deanna Schultz, Democratic nominee, Anita Ruger, Ellen Stanley, Linda Hendrickson, Gail DeCinski, Diane Whitmer, Lynn Almquist, Cheryl White, Evelyn Schultz, Sally Rakovic, and Ellen Steckbauer.
So we appoint these election inspectors every 2 years in December of the even year. All of these appointees have worked previously, with the exception of Deanna, who is the new Democratic nominee that was submitted this year. All of them have agreed to serve for the next 2 years.
You're all Spencer people?
They are all Spencer people. Kathy started out being outside of the village and has since moved into the village.
Oh, really?
Yes. But you don't have to be a
I
village of Spencer.
understand that. I just asked.
Anybody in the county is eligible for appointment to our election, to be an election official. If you want to be a chief inspector, then you have to be from the municipality that you're the chief inspector of. And three of our candidates are, two have been chief inspectors in the past, and the third is taking training now to become inspector.
A couple of things on this. Those first two, the Republican candidate and the Democratic nominee, they get first choice. Chris has to talk to them first before we can talk to the other people, right?
Yep, so the whole point of that reference to Wisconsin statute 7.30 is important because we are required to accept lists of nominees for election officials from the Democratic and Republican parties in Marathon County. It's a two-party system. They're the only parties that are allowed to submit candidates, but the candidates that they submit, if they are eligible to serve, have to be accepted. And they have to be asked first to work at any of our elections. I believe that maybe last cycle was the first time we ever had a nominee. Not sure. So what happens is the winner of the last presidential election, that party gets 50% plus one of the election workers that we have at any election. So we could have had more names submitted by either the Republican or Democratic Party, and we would have been required to take them proportional to each other, with the party, in this case, the Republicans, having won the last presidential election, they would have gotten the plus one. Most of our election workers are not affiliated.
And the other item, unless this has changed, if any of your spouses are on this list and we are running for the board, they cannot work that election. Okay. Okay, so now if you're gonna be running, Gail cannot work this particular election.
But then I'll just get off.
Okay.
That's why we have so many in our slate here, is to make sure that we have enough coverage for every election. State statutes.
Yeah, Gail does it for the money, you know, all $20.
I got a list of about 25 people who want to get on the board, so in case you want to get on.
All right.
Really?
Really? If you believe that, I got a river to tell you, someplace out west. Okay, thank you. We need to approve this.
Make an action to approve the appointment of elected officials.
Sorry.
We may move in second to approve the list of appointees. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item G, discussion possible action on Ellis Stone change order number 1 for the well number 7 water treatment plant number 2 project for net decrease of $98,952.79.
Max, can take it away.
So this is pretty close to final changes on the project. We have a couple still outstanding. The top table is kind of additions, I'll say. So there's pretty minor stuff, a couple structural items that we discovered pretty early on in the project. Biggest one, that water tower antenna addition. We had to change some of the communication from the tower to the existing treatment plant. That still has to be done. So that number might change a little bit, but for sure it'll be change order 2. That'll be finalized when we basically finalize the pay request for the project. the biggest decrease you see there is all our supplemental items below. So that was just well, kind of CYA stuff we put on these specifically because not sure exactly what we're gonna encounter. We put a massive concrete tank, like you said, underground. We gotta make sure that we got that supported correctly, otherwise we don't want the building to fall apart in 2 years. That doesn't look very good. So we throw a lot of big numbers at it just to make sure in the initial bid, we have it all accounted for because the funding needs to see that number first, and then they'll basically fund you up to a certain amount, but not, they'll cap it essentially. So we ask for more, and then if we come back with less, they're still gonna fund to a certain percentage essentially. So, we got lucky. We didn't have to use a lot of that. We did use a little bit. We added a gravel walkway around the generator. So you see that, I think it's in the structural fill item. We use a very small amount, but overall the site actually was pretty decent material. So we didn't have to do a whole lot of tweaking with our initial numbers here. So with that being said, our decrease is at $98,952.79. So there's maybe one item still hanging out there, but it's like $2,000. So if there is anything else, I know we've discussed several other options, between myself and Greg. Now I guess would be the time to reconsider those options.
So the as-built drawings,
Yes.
do you keep them or do we keep them here?
No, you guys will get them, you'll get an electronic copy and a hard copy. So we're actually working on that now. Ellis, August, Econ, all the subcontractors, they just submit that to me. Since I've been on site for the project, I'm just slowly working on it, and then I'll have a full red line set that'll get printed and then also electronically sent to Chris.
And that'll include all the equipment model numbers and stuff.
That's correct, yes. And then that also comes with, John's gonna have basically a 4-drawer file cabinet just full of O&M manuals. He's gonna get sick of looking through how to change the oil in his pumps, so.
Yes, but I'm just thinking down the road. So some of these pipe specs and stuff, is that required these days or not?
Like required by code or?
Well,
What did you ask? Some of these what?
like, the pipe that they use, that type of thing, because some places require. And I don't know if the water department even cares what the pipe spec is. I mean, whether. It meets this standard, well, even the concrete. Every load of concrete should have had a sump test, right?
Yeah, and they had, we put that on the contractor, so I want to say it was every 5. Like the first 5 yards and then every 50 yards on a subsequent pour. They had to do, air test, slump test. And then they took breaks, basically. So that all happened mostly last year, a little bit this spring. So the contractor hired AET, and you guys hired to do the soil testing on the site.
Right,
So they
we
worked
paid
in
for that.
conjunction. Yes. But that was the contractor that paid for all their concrete tests.
I'm just thinking down the road when. I'm in the grave, I ain't gonna, who's the next generation has to deal with it.
So, you know, with being in the wastewater treatment plant for so long, I refer to those as built all the time. You know,
But I do remember when we had the firehouse. There were no drawings.
Yeah.
No electrical drawings. They had no clue where the wires ran.
yeah, your information's only as good as you know, you get back from the
That's my
engineer.
point.
And I know there's been a
That's to let the engineering firm get away without doing anything.
No, definitely not. There's been a couple small changes on the electrical side. I've worked with Matt. Most of it was just flipping stuff between panels. Cause there's 2 main panels. There's one near the garage and then there's one electrical.
No kidding, I couldn't count them. I
Yeah.
can't believe the panels in.
Well, yeah, the main ones would be the lighting ones, the small ones, and then everything else is, to be honest, kind of above my pay grade, but there's people beyond my pay grade that make those decisions that just tell me what to look for. So the big panel, so it's all, yes, we've been tracking every change that we had, which is several minor ones, but
Any other comments, questions? We don't need to vote on this.
Yeah.
To accept this decrease. Not
Not a roll call, but
Good.
so much.
Make a motion to approve the decrease. Second.
Then moved by Jeremy, second by Pat. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item H, discussion of possible action on Ellis Stone pay request number 12 for the well number 7 water treatment plant number 2 project for $514,670.30.
All right.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That ain't right. I'm gonna invoke number 5 again. I did this last meeting and I apologize. I did not. Again, I'm cutting and pasting previous agendas, so H, that pay request should be $309,468.11. I apologize for that.
Okay, everybody get that?
It's the highlighted number on the physical pay request that's it's in your packet.
Entertain a motion to approve this pay request. So moved. Moved by Tom, second by Ernie. Roll call on this. Ralphie.
Yes.
Zinsky.
Yes.
Owens. Schaefer.
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
White.
Yes. Yes. And that brings us to item number 13, discussion and action on the approval of current development.
Assuming I got it right.
Yeah, no cut and paste on it.
No. Well, no, it's like you do. We start with last month's Excel spreadsheet. Another big month, but primarily driven by that note, anticipation note that was refunded for the Bank of Omaha.
We bought a new chainsaw.
We did buy a new chainsaw. It's nice. We had a little tree money left over in the budget. So we bought a chainsaw.
I just see the price.
I think it included an extra bar or an extra chain.
Extra bar, extra chain, 6-pack of oil, because if I put a 6-pack of oil on there, yeah. I could call it oil.
And you got more warranty. Right?
2-year warranty because I registered under my name instead of villages, so he gave us a 2-year warranty instead of 30 days if it was registered under the village.
You get a steel or the house bar?
Steel. So it's got a full 2-year warranty instead of 30 days.
House bar usually has a better one.
We do everything through bills.
Yeah, built stuff.
Did you get the new one with the easy start?
Easy starts.
That's for the old people. I'm sure they got at least like a.
Easy start. You pull it one time and the second time it half winds and away it goes.
No.
That's for old people. It works wonderful. I love it.
Then it probably would have been a 1 in front of that.
I don't know.
I think I have much horsepower in that one.
So Eilers was 18,000. That's our yearly fee.
No, that was the fee associated with the note anticipation, note refinancing. So they do all of the behind the scenes stuff for the loan. That wasn't handled by Quarles. So the two big closing costs associated with that note was the stuff that Ehlers did for us and the stuff that Quarles did for us. Both those amounts were included in the amount that we borrowed for.
Whoops.
Any other questions coming up? Don't need to look.
Yeah, it was, on waste management, it's listed as garbage, recycling, administrative fee and fuel charge.
So in the invoice that we get from them, they line item. It's $6 worth of administration charges. That we charge $3 to the recycling side and $3 the garbage side.
The fuel charge didn't kick in.
And the fuel charges we haven't had in a long time.
Okay,
I think that's just a carryover.
that was my question.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be.
If there was a fuel charge, that's what it would be for, but there hasn't been.
It's just listed. as like-
Yeah, we could take that off as a, until we actually get the fuel surcharge again. Yeah. But that admin fee is literally $6 or $5 and it's $2.50 each way.
That was my question. Town and country, what the hell we paying them people? Each. Did you get a pay raise? Pat, did you have a question on Roland? Roland?
Yeah.
You have a question?
Well, it's in the vouchers, so.
Feel free. Motion?
Good night.
Second.
I don't want them next year.
Did you want, I don't know if that was really.
Then a motion or just? I'm gonna make a motion.
I was just answering,
Oh, okay.
you know, I'll make a motion.
Motion by Jerry, second by Tom, no call.
Zinsky,
Yes.
Bowles, yep. Casey, yes, Travis,
Yeah.
White,
Yes.
so far.
Yes. Mr. Hagan, welcome. Did you wanna have a few minutes or you just,
All I tapped in for was, I went to Fosberg's funeral and I get signatures for the county supervisor position running again.
Really, there's not enough yet, huh?
Thanks for coming. Okay, first report.
Yeah, number of building, permits we got. Sorry for not putting the vouchers on the screen. Oops. Yeah, was it 6 building permits? Still nice to get a few building permits at the end of the year. I did want to let people know about an error that I made calculating the tax bills. It was an error that the county caught. So it didn't affect the actual bills that we got printed, or rather, it didn't result in any extra work to print the bills. But I did print out the levy limit comparison sheet that I made for you guys last year to update it. I told you previously that the other 4 taxing authorities were the only, or all went down relative to the village, being the only one that went up this year, and that wasn't correct. When I did the calculation, I forgot to add back in the TID values. And so there was a significant portion of tax revenue that I forgot to add back in to the calculation. So, so all 4 taxing authorities did have an increase over last year's. And the villages was significant. We knew that. It's a little bit bigger than we anticipated, or at least that I illustrated last time. I used my own tax bill as a comparison because the numbers are right in front of my face. The village had an 18% increase year over year. Again, we knew that was going to happen. That was driven by the loans that we took out to pay for Park Street. And it did work. Everybody else's taxes, the other 3 taxing authorities went up between 5 and 6%. So for a total tax increase for Village and Spencer property of 9.2%, using my bill as a. So I did want to get that corrected. I should have realized when all 3 of the other taxing authorities went down that probably wasn't realistic. But having only done this for a couple of years, I didn't realize how unrealistic that would be. And yeah, in hindsight, that really doesn't make a lot of sense. Anything else in my letter that jumps out at you? We did safety training. We are going to be delaying the startup of well number 7 until January 1st, primarily driven by a few things that we need to get done by DNR before we can start that up. The biggest impact for us is just that it's going to delay when we raise the rates for our water usage for our residents. So probably none of them will be complaining. Assuming we start up on January 1st, those bills will show a rate increase, starting in the February bill for January service. They got the plow truck. Town Country did have an engineer, that they referred to us to come look at the kids group building. I've got that report. I didn't get it in this packet, but I'll get it out to you guys later. It's a very favorable report. Besides the age of the building, we thought it was in pretty good shape. There are
Are
obviously,
you looking at a wood floor again?
we didn't quite get that far because we weren't able to get a look at the flooring underneath the floor. The engineer that came and looked at it, said it is extremely common in a gym floor that old, and was also able to identify the drainage problems on the east side of the building that probably contributed to what's going on inside the building. So even though there's no basement under that portion of the floor.
No, but there's other products out there rather than a wood floor.
Yeah, he's more than happy to help us pick something out when we get access to that subflooring sometime this winter. The intention was to hopefully maybe that the same materials underneath the stage. Not 100% sure, but we'll find a place that we can cut into the flooring that will do is the least amount of damage as far as continued use of the floor goes. But then once we have access to that subflooring, he said he'd come back and take a look at it and give us a recommendation on what other types of flooring we could use as opposed to going back with the traditional wood flooring. There are a number of different options. That would be.
Well, between the two buildings, they have that little blacktop sidewalk, a foot wide. I mean, no wonder they have a water problem.
Yeah,
There's no place for it to run.
Yeah, especially on the east side of the building, when we did the asphalt work on the south side of the building, we made it even harder for that water to get out of that area, especially considering that there's a roof drain that drains to that.
Right.
Side. So he was not overly concerned that it would be a hard fix. We'll just go in and fill that area in the spring and then adjust that roof drain so that we can make
I
sure that.
never understood why they did what they did,
As far as
putting that blacktop into the building.
on the west side,
No, on the east side.
there is no blacktop.
Yes, there isn't.
It's just,
And I asked him about that. I'm like, should we put blacktop in there? And he's like, no. If you get the grade up to where it needs to be so that stuff flows away from the building.
We could even put a drain tile of
He-
any nature,
He literally said, if
Any
you want to
type
go
of
to the
drain
trouble to
tile.
put in a drain tile, we could do that too.
anything.
The biggest thing was to get the roof drain water to make sure that's not ponding in that area.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the neighbors must have some water that contributes to that too. Andy's building to the,
I don't remember the roof line off of the other building, I would imagine.
You think there's one of his downspouts back there too that we could
yeah.
shoot across?
So we'll take care of that this spring.
That's something that we could come up with.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need an engineer to tell us what
No.
runs downhill.
No. And the vouchers that you just approved, I didn't point it out, but he charged $500 to come give us that. So,
It's the other building issues.
well, yeah, the actual fixes are gonna be a lot more expensive than.
That's just the way that building was constructed.
that floor is sitting on these 2x10s.
There seems to be some wood
There's 2x10s
Yeah.
under there.
on top of concrete.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so lots of different options. But we'll know for sure once we get a good look at it. Two things I wanted to refer, I have referred a committee here at the bottom. Shipping containers have come up again as being used as storage sheds in the village. And it would probably be a good idea to review our ordinance, whether or not we wanted to. Basically, what we're doing right now is kind of turn a blind eye to the few commercial businesses that have used shipping containers as storage sheds. And when I say a few, I want to say, I thought it was 3 that I was aware of last year. And driving around, I see that there's at least 2 more companies that have brought in shipping containers to use as storage in our commercial areas, which are not permitted by our current ordinance. The other one that's brand new is at the school. They got a shipping container put next to the concession stand to house their mats for track. they were looking for a rodent-proof storage option for those mats because they're pretty expensive. The best they could come up with was a shipping container, which was relatively inexpensive, but they never thought about checking with the office to see if it was even permitted, which of course it's not in an institutional zone. So I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to talk about that amongst yourselves, or if you want to just send it to the planning commission, or both. But it is probably something that we should address. We don't have a committee that deals with zoning because we have a planning commission. So if the board wanted to address it as a whole first, that could be fine. Or if we want to just send it to the planning commission for a recommendation from them, that could be fine too. But seeing as how only 2 board members sit on the planning commission, if the board wanted to take a more active role in that decision, then it might be more appropriate to have that at a full board meeting.
I think we ought to be proactive.
Well, the structures are movable.
So,
I mean, not gonna be a permanent structure.
well, they can be. And in fact, the state just adopted ICB 2021, which is or CBC. It's the Commercial Building Code Standard for the state. And the 2021 standard includes shipping containers. This is an email that literally came across my desk today. So they have identified shipping containers as a valid building material now, basically. And what they've said is that in order to be considered valid, they want to see all the original manufacturer's stamps retained on the shipping container when it's sold. So they want to see the year that it was made, who made it, and what it was rated for. And then they can use that information to build their permit off of it. So shipping containers will be part of the building code now for commercial structure officially in Wisconsin when it's passed next spring.
But that's for commercial, no residential.
Oh, no,
Not on the residential side. No, just on the commercial side.
but you're going to see a request for it.
We have had a number of people call recently and asked to use shipping containers for sheds, and I've told them no. I don't know if I haven't noticed that anybody's installed one residential property yet. But a number of commercial businesses have installed them. And yeah, and the new building code will treat them as a permanent structure. They want to see them anchored properly. They want to see a foundation underneath them. There will be rules associated with the commercial structure.
Well, yeah, I think somebody better discuss it.
We should have be proactive, because as soon as, I mean, we got a company selling them on the curb up here.
That's right.
That's where schools came from.
I'm just saying, they're available and people are gonna look at it. Why wouldn't they? I mean,
That's one for a cabin for that reason.
So,
I'm
just saying,
Yeah.
you know, they're
we
there.
should have something on the books rather than somebody walking the door and say,
Yeah.
and then we gotta make a decision right now. I'm having a shipping container delivered Friday. What are you guys gonna do about it? That's what happened.
Sean will be waiting for him.
yeah.
Yeah, but he has nothing to back him up.
We don't have to decide anything tonight, except that if we want to include it on the agenda for a future meeting.
Or you wanna go to the planning commission and get more opinions?
The biggest thing is the planning commission would probably like some direction from the board. You know, is it the board's intention to allow them or not? And while I know that you two are on the planning commission, 2 board members can't speak for the board. So it might be appropriate to have it at the board level first. And then, you know, see what the planning commission, if
Committee.
we could have a committee meeting of the whole, might be appropriate the next time. That way it's not part of a full agenda meeting.
Okay.
No, it's zone.
But I can do that.
The other issue is how do you tax them?
Commercial only.
And so like on the commercial side, we would require them to get a commercial building permit. So that's a structure that's gonna be permitted by the state, and that's gonna be something that our assessor can work with.
The question I would have, because I've never looked into it, is one shipping container of poor quality than another?
It really
Better
depends.
quality?
So it was interesting talking to Jason at the school because this shipping container that they purchased for about $6,000, 40 by 10 by
A one-time use?
a one-time use container
Yep.
that came from overseas somewhere.
I've looked at ads. I probably look to. They call it like a one-time use. It came across the pond once.
My brother.
They empty the rubber dog shit out and then they sell
It's cheaper to sell it here than it is to ship it back.
Yeah. And they got to specify what they wanted, like they wanted doors on both sides, both ends, so that they could get pass through stuff. You can get them with the doors on the side. You can get them to whatever height you want. The company up at Unity basically will find a container that matches your needs. If they don't have it on site, they will find one.
it. And you can get multiple use ones too, but
Yeah, Jason said they spent like $6,000 on this, one use container. They could have spent $1,000 on one that looked like it was worth $1,000. But they had all different styles and ages and conditions.
So that brings up the taxing thing too then. Again, how do you put a value on it?
When I talked to our assessor previously, both our assessor and our building inspector, they're like for residential property, that was one of their concerns, especially obviously the assessors was I don't know what kind of value to put on this thing. But certainly now that it will be incorporated into the commercial building code, I would think that they would be able to use the
guidelines.
to use the knowledge that they already have to assess commercial buildings, that they can just apply that to the.
Well, there's communities where they're building houses on.
Yeah.
Okay. That's enough.
The other thing was the sale of the old plow truck. We would meet next week. We're gonna get bids on Monday for the plow truck. So I had mentioned the need for a special meeting to review those bids. If a day next week is better than another, let me know. The bids will be available on Monday. Review. Unless you want to include the shipping container discussion, this could be the only thing on the agenda, so it could be relatively quick meeting.
I sure won't want to look at a shipping container out my window. But I'm in the country. Hallelujah.
Hey, there's the guy down on LaSalle Street, he'd be packing them in there.
Yeah, at least they could put it- they could put some
Tuesday and
flag.
Thursday are all.
No Tuesday and Thursday. So Monday or Wednesday, the 15th or the 17th.
There's a one back turn off.
That'd be good.
There's some
Wednesday works for me.
Back there, but
Wednesday better?
I won't be.
band body.
Okay. Did you want to be
I'm
here?
gone the 17th and 18th.
Well, you can email that out to us and, for the ones that can't be here, they can at least put in an opinion. That's just what the cost of plow truck is no big deal.
If it works better for somebody Tuesday or Thursday, it's
Well,
Gotta get paid.
does Monday work for you? Does
Yeah,
Monday,
Monday works
does
for me.
Monday now?
whatever you wanna do. I have something there, but it's nothing important. I
It'll
can
be
skip that.
6:30 again on Monday.
Yeah, I can.
That's okay. That's what it'll be.
That's what we need.
Yep,
6:30,
6:30.
saves.
And that
That's the
is
15th.
all I got for my questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Moving on to committee reports, finance and personnel.
No report right now. I'll wait for closed session.
Utilities, equipment, no report. Parks and buildings,
No report.
health and emergency government,
No report.
Economic Development, Main Street. Need the sidewalk.
Nothing.
Okay, need a possible motion to enter the closed section for Wisconsin statute 19.8512.
Make a motion to close section.
Moved by Jeremy. I'll second it. Roll call.
Rocky,
Yes.
Zinsky,
Yeah.
Bullock,
Yes.
Bicker, yes, Kraus,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Hopeful. 7:50.
Then I'll recommend to take a 5 minute break so we can keep moving.
For sure, yep, 5 minutes. You guys are, thanks for coming, Max, thanks for coming by.
I got only bringing Making a shipping container thing can grow.
Oh, it's fun. I don't agree with it.
Then they're gonna-
I heard a ship sitting outside. Everybody seems to like.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Just like that.
Okay, we are now back in open session.
Our next meeting, Monday, the 15th, 6:30,
6:30, yep.
and 2 things on the agenda.
Well, right now, there's just the one with the truck. If you guys would like to talk about the shipping container thing.
Put it under.
Thanks.
Better give us a week to think about it.
That's great. Jason from the school had said that he would not mind coming to a meeting to make a case for the school having their shipping container. If you.
That's not
not
the
an issue. It's not.
That's not the issue. The issue is
Yeah.
future one.
No, I get it. Yeah, I just didn't know if I should invite him.
It's fine. And, you know, if there's not to come.
Well, he can always come to any meeting, but I did tell him I'd let him know if you guys wanted him.
Do you have a copy of that new state
Look it up.
requirement
For,
containers?
yeah, I'll forward you the email
I appreciate
with all the
it.
links. Yeah,
Google what?
well. I can't remember what the name of it.
SKI.
Yeah, they are.
GPT.
Not ChatGPT,
Oh, the other one?
but the other one.
That's what I use chat.
What one do you use?
It's called, Perplexity. Perplexity,
Perplexity.
yeah. I like that one
Sounds like it
because,
makes me
we got it for free, as part of our subscription to Zoom. And I thought I'd try it out for this year, and I would not ask it to write things for me, like I know Jeremy, he doesn't write letters anymore, he just has.
Oh, I
GPT right
still
there.
poke them and fix them, but yeah.
But for research purposes, it's a really good one because it's geared towards government, so their model has all of the stuff already downloaded from government.
More using smarter it gets.
90% accurate.
Yeah, it's
But what
still
about
gets
that
things
other
wrong.
10%?
Well,
Yeah,
there's so many search engines these days.
Yeah, it can still get things wrong, but
I think Paul was using it here. I remember he developed all the questions for the people who were interviewing. Went around. I said, man, that's pretty good. You use AI.
Do you use Perplexity then? or
I don't
AI?
have.
see ChatGPT.
Chat.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Most do learn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're gonna. You have.
Hit the button.
Yep, so. I don't know why they did a guy. Yeah, I heard these are.